clinical research opportunities, especially for BHMS, BAMS, BUMS, Siddha.
Hello all, welcome to the Homeopathic Center with collaboration with Therapeutic Homeopathy. Here we do only on humans, at the same time only on the drug.
The rules in homeopathy are not strict as of now.
So in homeopathy there is no preclinical research. So how you take on this, sir? And actually when you read old literatures of homeopathy, they usually treat many cows. From there they get the results. How valuable is clinical research as a long-term career option?
The important opportunity here we have is not our designation, nothing to do with BHMS.
So other important question, sir. As from BHMS, we enter into MD. Who will be having upper hand?
I will say MD will have same opportunities.
What are the common entry-level roles in clinical research for a BHMS graduate?
Go to a hospital, join your clinical trial as.
So can you explain like what hardships you faced under this clinical research coordinator?
The hardship I faced was the culture is different.
Does MD degree significantly influence the growth?
Your MD is nothing to do with your.
How important are certificates like ICH?
Certificates?
So it's more of practical.
Every year technology changes. You start your clinical research career when you are first year.
And how does this clinical research help in developing an evidence-based mindset?
Right, I will tell you a small story. There is no different two types of science. Yeah, right? Homeopathy is highly scientific than compared to any other system of medicine.
What challenges do homeopathic professions face while working in mainstream clinical research, sir?
Gen Z is good at communication, but what I have seen is
compare with clinical practice in terms of financial stability and work-life balance.
See, I don't believe in work-life balance. Your life is your work and your work is your life.
If a student wants to start today, what 3 steps should they take in next 6 months?
You have to be good at English. Next, this you can do when you have 1 week time. If you do these 3 things, I am sure that you will enter and flourish in clinical trials.
Yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Vijay Ramara, BHMS, the Homeopathic Center. Today we are going to have a deep discussion about clinical trials and clinical research and what are some of the opportunities and growth in clinical research, especially for BHMS, BAMS, BUMS and Siddha, every branch, and also for MBBS. The Homeopathic Center with collaboration with Therapeutic Homeopathy, Dr. Bharadwaz. Hope you all have a good session. So we are going to move on to interactive board session.
Hello all, welcome to the Homeopathic Center with collaboration with Therapeutic Homeopathy. Today we are with Dr. Bharadwaz, who was a clinical research subject expert. So today sir will introduce about the introduction about the clinical research and the different methods and the topics. Then once this introduction has to be completed, we will going into the entering into the podcast and how this clinical research is helping in students and what we have to do and how this the future of clinical research sir will be explaining you. Welcome you sir.
Thank you. The first topic for the day is let's understand what is clinical research. So we have different opinions about clinical research. First we will check what clinical research exactly is. Okay. First one, the word in the field of clinical research means humans. Any medical experiment that is conducted on human beings is considered as clinical research. Why do we do clinical research? Because of only 2 things. We need only 2 information. Whether the existing drug, device or a procedure is safe to the patients compared to the existing ones, and also is it efficient than the previous one. For example, there is a paracetamol tablet. Is a new tablet or new drug that is we are going to be tested for reducing fever. Is it more safer than paracetamol? Is it more efficient than paracetamol? Safer means does it have less side effects than paracetamol? It is considered as safer. Is it more efficient? If paracetamol reduces fever within half an hour, is it reducing the fever within 15 minutes? Is it more efficient? Only 2 data we need. One is safety data and one is efficiency data. So after getting this data, what do we do in clinical research? We submit this data to regulatory authority. Regulatory authority means every country will have its own regulatory authority. In that regulatory authority decides whether this medicine has to be given to the people of that country or not. For example, for India it is CDSCO, Central Drug Standards Control Organization. For US it is FDA. All the data which is generated for a device, drug or a procedure will be submitted to these regulatory authorities. If these regulatory authorities find this data is genuine and this drug is safer than the previous drug and efficient than the previous drug, they give permission to sell in that particular country. So we to submit the data to regulatory authority and to get approval to sell. What is the purpose of making a medicine? To sell to the people, right? So that will be the main aim of the pharmaceutical companies. They have to do the clinical trial, get the data, submit to the regulatory authority, and get the approval to sell that medicine in that particular country. And most important thing, clinical research is done is only on three things. One is it can be either a drug or a device. For example, new MRI machine has come. If it is less problematic to people and it is more safer and more efficient than the existing CT mission, CT scan or MRI scan, we get permission for the people of that country. In the same way, any procedure, for example, you are operating the heart, you are doing a laparotomy for a particular disease and developed a new procedure so that no need of laparotomy, you just can do with robotic surgery or minimal invasive surgery, then that gets approval. Clinical research can be done on either drug, device or procedure.
So the same part here, this clinical research is on humans. So when we're coming about the homeopathic point of view, here we do only on humans, at the same time only on the drug, not on the any device or not on any procedure. So how this homeopathy has evolved is due to this same clinical research what Master Samuel Hahnemann has done on the cinchona bark. So can you explain, sir, how homeopathy drugs will be explaining on these steps in a very short span, taking one drug as example?
See, basically, homeopathy as of now doesn't have these strict guidelines and these strict rules, right? I have seen one homeopathic doctor who stays nearby in Hyderabad. What he does is, if the patient gets cancer, he asks the patient to get that biopsy done. He takes that cancer tissue, he triturates it and give to the patient. So the rules in homeopathy are not strict as of now, but they are going to become stricter and stricter in coming years. That's the reason people who are studying pharmacy or interested in pharmacy has more scope than compared to other people in the field. And see, the regulatory submission, there is no regulatory submission, there is no approval to get, there is no device, there is no procedure. So we are doing medicines on human being. If you have to do research on human being, there are a lot of approvals needed for these pharma companies, but we don't do that now. So we just have a small ethical committee or something like that. But these rules are going to become stricter in future. As of now, we don't, homeopaths don't have these many strict rules.
And like now, as you said, sir, one of the doctor from Hyderabad doing cancer. So is it isopathy or homeopathy, sir? So what kind of thing you confirm with that, sir? How it is?
So we cannot say whether it is isopathy, homeopathy. So he is getting results, he is doing it. He has tremendous amount of patients. When I went to his clinic, it is like a pharmacy, right? It is not like a clinic. Maybe small space is dedicated for him to sit and give the medicine, and very big place, maybe 3 to 4 times, maybe 1,000 square feet of his space is dedicated to only prepare new medicines. He will prepare mother tinctures, he will prepare his own. If patient is saying, I have taken this drug, after this drug I have developed these symptoms, he asks them to get that drug, he triturates it and gives it. So that is one way of doing it. What I mean to say here is, as of now, homeopathy is not strict. The reason is, it is not going to have side effects, right? We are giving medicine in a very minimal quantity. That's the reason it will not have side effects. So, but repeatedly proved, these type of things are being done by homeopaths. But in future, it is going to be strict. Now, medical research is divided into two parts. One is preclinical and next one is clinical. So, we will check what is preclinical now. Then what is preclinical? Preclinical research is testing before human beings. Before human beings, on whom you test? First you design the drug in a computer. After that you give it to animals. Once you get safety data and animal safety and efficiency data, if that is satisfied, the FDA or regulatory authority is going to give to start the clinical trials. Same, whatever it is, whether it is preclinical research or clinical research, it is done on drug, device or procedure. Next one is clinical research. Clinical research is purely testing on human beings. After preclinical research, the drug, device or procedure goes into clinical research. Okay, that is on human beings.
So in homeopathy, there is no preclinical research, sir. So how you take on this, sir? In future, as you said, it is going to be strict. So will in homeopathy also preclinical research is mandatory according to your experience, and how you are going to establish it, sir, in your words?
Yeah, definitely preclinical research is the most important thing, because the main things homeopathy lacking is pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics. Pharmacodynamics means what a drug does to the body. We don't know. For example, if you take allopathic medicine, just take a simple antacid. It goes into the stomach. There is acid. Antacid is base. Acid and base mixes and neutralizes. But homeopathy medicines doesn't have that knowledge, or that type of experiments are not done, and that type of information or scientific research is not there in homeopathy. No one knows how homeopathy medicines works. This is pharmacodynamics. And coming to pharmacokinetics, so where the medicine is absorbed, where the medicine is distributed, how the medicine is eliminated, ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. These are considered as pharmacokinetic principles. You take any allopathic drug, they have to have pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. They have to know where the drug is absorbed, how the drug is distributed, how the drug is metabolized, how the drug is eliminated. We don't know that. To establish pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic principles, first you need to test in animals. Then you have to, based on that data, you have to do it in human beings as well. That's the reason preclinical research is very important, and this is going to be implemented very soon in homeopathy.
Yes, that's nice idea. And actually, when you read old literatures of homeopathy of very several great masters, they usually treat many cows. They usually treat many horses. From there, they get the results, and they have applied in the humans as well. So that is preclinical there. But as of now, we use the term preclinical, as sir said, in the upcoming future in homeopathy as well. So now we are going into understand the clinical research introduction was completed. So now we will understand how the phases, on what phases it has to occur clinical research. As per sir's experience, there are 4 phases, and what phases and what dates and what timings you need to be carry on this clinical research. Sir will be explaining about the phases of clinical research.
Yeah. Now we will discuss about the parts, the flow of clinical research, how clinical research of a drug, device, or a procedure will occur. Okay. The first one is, as you know, medical research. Medical research is on human beings, right? Medical research before human beings. Okay, this is clinical research. Now this clinical research is divided into 2 parts. One is preclinical research and clinical research. These are the 2 major phases, and each one will have different phases and with different purpose. We will look into it. The first one is, right, preclinical research. Again, preclinical research is divided into 3 phases. One is in silico, in vitro, in vivo. Okay, we will check what is in silico, in vitro, in vivo. The first part of preclinical research is in silico. What do we do in silico? What is meant by in silico? Silico means computer. First, a device or a drug or a surgical procedure has to be designed in the computer, right? You have to use graphics, or you have to do the research on existing literature. Whatever you do, first you do basic research. All that comes under in silico. Once you have got all the knowledge, all the information, existing information, then you move on to animal trials. In animal trials, there are 2 parts. One is in vitro and in vivo. In vitro means taking an animal part like this and applying the drug or a device or a technique which is applicable. For example, you are working on a drug which reduces the stomach pain, maybe stomach. What do? You take the gut of a rabbit or gut of a rat. You put the gut of a rat into a petri dish, and you induce constriction, right? Peripheral constriction. Or what do? You stimulate the intestine so that it will contract and produce pain. Now you take the drug and put the drug here. You will check whether the intestine is relaxed or not. Is your drug is relaxing the intestine or not? So basically you are taking the part of the animal out and doing research on it. That is considered as in vitro testing. Once this is done, once you find that this drug is having some effect on the intestine of the rat, then what do? You go for in vivo test. In vivo, what do? You take a rat or an animal, you induce severe abdomen pain or cramps into it through using other drugs. Then you inject the test drug. Once you inject the test drug, whether the rat is feeling relaxed or not. So after in vitro, you have to check in vivo. Is it working on the in vivo or not? If you do on the live animals like this, this completes the animal testing. So again, preclinical phase is divided into in silico and animal testing. Animal testing, in vitro and in vivo. After you complete this, you get safety data, you get efficiency data. Means what is the safer drug? If this is the weight of the animal, right? If for this weight of the animal, this drug is safer, this amount of drug is safer, then human being is this weight. What is the safest drug? You decide through the existing knowledge and existing literature, what is the safe drug for human beings, safe dose for human beings, and also is it efficient in human beings or not? You are going to test in the clinical research.
So basically, sir, here what I understood, the dosage will be understood exactly
Yeah.
according to the weight, how much dosage or what we call as mg, how much it is needed, and how this reaction is going into the animal. So based on that, then it will be applicable in the human life as well.
Right.
So not like this is a caution. I think the more of over aggravations, what we call, that can be avoided due to this preclinical at the same time in the 3 phase of steps. So this is a good idea. This can be implemented in homeopathy in further future as well.
Yeah, definitely. 3 important things we want from clinical research is whether the medicine is working or not. That is the first one. Second one is safety. In safety, what do you do? What is the safe dose for human beings? That we have to get. Efficiency and safety. You take any experiment in clinical trials, you test only 2 things. One is efficiency, one is safety. Here efficiency, how we check whether it is relaxing the abdomen, relaxing the intestine or not. That is efficiency. And what is the safe dose for human beings? That is safety.
Yes.
Right? Here we are using the animals and considering the safety for human beings, not for the animals. Okay? Yeah. Once we complete the preclinical trials, then we move on to clinical trials. Clinical research, it is on human beings. It is carried in 4 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And we will check what is the importance of each phase. Why do we need to divide into 4 phases? The important rule here is phase 1 is the first phase. The medicine is coming from animals to the human beings for the first time. What we have to do? We have to test in minimal number of patients, healthy patients. Okay. What do we do in phase 1? The main objective, see, it will have 2 objectives: safety and efficiency. But main objective of phase 1 is safety first, whether the drug is safe or not. That is the first one. On an average, it is done on 8 people. Okay, and these are only healthy people. It is not done in the diseased people. These are the 3 points in phase 1. Phase 1 trial is completed. Now we have checked the safety, whether the drug is safe for human beings or not, whether it is, we will also check efficiency, if the drug is efficient or not. If safety and efficiency is proved in phase 1, then the drug moves into phase 2. Okay.
So as you said here, healthy human beings.
Yeah.
So how you consider he is healthy, and before coming into the clinical research as a participant, what kind of instructions you give them and what kind of tests they have to be done? So based on that, the efficacy is more of related, no, sir. So that you explain, sir, what tests to be done, how you consider a healthy human being, and how you consider diseased human being. Once if you give a gist of idea, so they'll get an idea about it. What is healthy exactly?
Right. In clinical research, you take any phase 1, phase 2, phase 4. There is not phase 4. Phase 4 is different. We will look into it. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. There are 2 criteria: inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. These criteria should be satisfied. Inclusion criteria should be satisfied. Exclusion criteria should be ruled out. What it means is, the protocol will say and the regulatory authority will say, if you want to take the people, they should have these characters, right? Inclusion characters. If they have these characters, they are eligible. That is, inclusion criteria should be satisfied. And they will also say beside that, exclusion criteria. If they have these problems, they are to be excluded. Means exclusion criteria should be ruled out. They should not have the things which are mentioned in the exclusion criteria. They should have the things mentioned in the inclusion criteria. If inclusion criteria is satisfied and exclusion criteria is ruled out, then only you take the patient to the clinical trial. What that inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria depends on the particular drug, device or procedure. For example, it is a HIV drug. So what criteria? You cannot do the HIV testing on a healthy human being, right? You have to do directly take the diseased human being. All those things are mentioned in that. Maybe for example, if you are doing a drug and on a fever, so normally fever drugs acts on liver and kidneys. We have to check whether the patient is having good liver function or good kidney function. It depends. In clinical trials, everything is based on the situation. So for this particular drug or for this particular device or for this particular procedure, what is the inclusion criteria, what is the exclusion criteria, this depends on many features, right? It is a ocean, and there are some specialized clinical research organization who do phase 1 clinical trials, and it is a multi-billion-dollar business. Okay, so they are strictly guided, especially in phase 1 is very strictly guided. Even other phases also, but most strictly regulated phase is phase 1.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, we go to phase 2. We got safety data. Once in phase 1 it is proved the drug is safe, or the dosage of the drug which is safer is proved, then we take to phase 2. In phase 2, we consider only diseased people. For example, if it is a fever, we take only fever patients. If it is a diabetes, we take only diabetic people. Here the inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria is different. Here the inclusion criteria says the patient should have diabetes, and exclusion criteria says he should not have liver disease, something like that. The important thing, safety is always there. Here the importance is given to efficiency. What is efficiency here? Is the drug is efficient? Is the drug doing intended purpose? For example, if you are doing a drug on obesity, is the drug reducing obesity or not? That is done in phase 2. Here importance is always for safety, and also here efficiency is also considered. It is normally done around on around 80 people, because it is already safe, it is already done, so it is will be done on around 80 people. Once phase 2 is completed, we submitted the data to FDA or any regulatory authority. If it is satisfied, then it gives permission to phase 3. Of all the research, the major research is phase 3, and it is done on around 800 people. It is done. Here the thing you have to consider in phase 3 is it is already safer, right? It is already efficient. How efficient is it, right? Is it efficient than the previous ones? You already have paracetamol for fever. Why regulatory authority is going to give permission if the drug is efficient, safer, but not safer than paracetamol? If it is safer than paracetamol, then only it gets permission. It is working, it is safe, but it is less efficient or less safer than paracetamol, they will not give permission. This is the race here. You have to always consider a drug, invent a drug, device or procedure which is safer and which is better than the previous one, then only the government will give permission. So here tested is a comparison, how safer it is compared to existing drugs, how efficient it is compared to existing drug is done in the phase 3. If phase 3 is successful, if you can prove your drug, device or surgical procedure is better than the existing one, is safer than the existing ones, is efficient than the existing ones, then you move on to phase 4. Phase 4 is releasing into the market. You release the drug into the market. After phase 3, you get permission. The regulatory authority will give you permission. Yeah, this drug is good, you can sell in my country, so I will give you patent right for 8 years. Here important thing for homeopaths. Last month I have done a podcast with one of the senior guys, Dr. R. Vallavan, who is head of scientific research in Wilmer Schwabe. He said me important thing. Till now, homeopathy medicines did not have any patent right? For example, if you invent any new drug, if you prove any new drug, anyone can make it, right? There is no regulation on it. But since 2024, new regulations has come in homeopathy. If you invent a drug, you will be given exclusive patent rights for 5 years. You prove a drug and you will get exclusive rights for 5 years. only you can make the drug for 5 years and you can sell. No one can sell the drug. First time, that is the patent right is introduced into homeopathy. This is very good because most of the pharmaceutical companies will now invest money so that they can make money. This is very good improvement in homeopathy. That this phase 4 already released into the market, and you just watch it. This is also known as post marketing surveillance. What is meant by post marketing surveillance? You will just watch the drug is safer, or if the drug is efficient than the previous one. If government thinks it is not safer, it will withdraw the drug. Phase 4 is for lifetime. Once you complete the phase 3, it goes into phase 4. Phase 4 will complete only when if the regulatory authority decides that this medicine is not good. For example, we have nimucilide drug, right? It is withdrawn in very many countries. Means because there are many drugs now available which are more safer, more efficient than nimucilide. That's the reason the drug is withdrawn from many countries but still available in India. Phase 4 ended means the drug is not available in the market. Okay, that is phase 4.
So as now, recently we have seen many things like in modern medicine, some cough syrups have been affecting some of the child of very 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So why that is happening, sir? What could be the reason? They don't follow all this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, or if they follow also, why these side effects now it is evolving? What could be the probable reasons, sir, according to you?
No, the recent case where there was a problem with cough syrup is not due to clinical research. It is clinical research is done. The drug is in phase 4. The problem is there was a defect in manufacturing. A wrong product or wrong additive or some reaction has occurred in the medicine and it went to wrong. It is nothing to do with the clinical trials. It is to do with the manufacturing of the drug.
So how that we can avoid, sir? Or in homeopathy also, as you said, the patent rights has been. So that could be the probable reason, I think. So how we can avoid this, sir, in coming future?
Yeah, very strict quality regulations. Allopathy medicines are strictly quality regulated, right? No one can make. There are a lot of things, but that strict guidelines are not there in homeopathy. The reason that is a advantage of homeopathy, and you can say disadvantage also. How advantage? Because homeopathy doesn't have side effects. We no need to worry about that much, right? Anyone can make any drug and use any drug because homeopathy medicines will not have side effects. The reason for not having side effects is we use drug in many very small quantity. For example, how small it is, Professor Ballare has identified it. For example, you take a paracetamol tablet, 500 mg paracetamol tablet, okay, small tablet. You cut the tablet into 1 crore pieces, right? 1 crore pieces you cut the tablet. Take one small piece and put in 1 ml of liquid, right? What is the concentration? Same concentration we have in our dilutions. It is just few hundred or few thousand picograms per ml. It is coming to the same concentration. Okay, that's the reason homeopaths need not worry about side effects. That is the advantage. What is the disadvantage? There is no regulation. You don't know whether you are using correct drug or not. You cannot test. There are no strict rules. Anyone can make homeopathic drug. So this is the disadvantage. So every system, every procedure will have advantage and disadvantage. This is the advantage we have, and that is the disadvantages we have as well. But this gap is closing now. That's the reason more homeopathic. You go to any conference, everyone is telling homeopathic MD homeopathic pharmacy is the future of homeopathy, because we are going from unregulated procedures to when we go to regulated procedures, we need more expertise, more people in that who can manage it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So now we are entering into the clinical research parties. So what is parties? Here parties means after manufacturing the medicine, what regulatory rules to be followed, what persons we need to meet, and whom service we need to submit. And these regulatory parties of different state have different regulations. So now sir will explain what are these parties, how it is functioned, and what to be done in this clinical research.
Yeah. Here, clinical research parties means who are all involved. There are different people involved, right? There is government, there is pharmaceutical companies to support the pharmaceutical companies. There are clinical research organization who act as a third party supporters for a pharma company. So in order to enter into a clinical research career, this is the basic thing you need to understand about the clinical research. Who are all involved, where I will fit. So do I fit in a pharma company, or do I fit in a clinical research organization? Do I fit in a regulatory authority, or do I fit in any other organization? We will look deeply into it, so that from here your actual journey starts, your practical journey starts to develop interest in what you have, right? Different people are interested in different things. Where your interest is, it starts from here. Okay, basically there are three parties in clinical research. One is pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies who make the clinical research drug. Any new drug is invented by them, they are the investors. They can invest on a drug or a device and a surgical procedure. They can find a new drug which they want to research. They can devise a new procedure, or they can develop a new device which they want to sell in the market. These are also sponsors who will sponsor the clinical trial. There are also sponsors. Next one is regulatory authorities. Regulatory authorities means they want to sell. These are the guys who sit in the government, and they will give permission whether to sell it or not. They have to do the clinical research, submit the data to regulatory authorities, and regulatory authorities give permission whether they can sell or not. This is the investor, this is the approver. Okay, this is known as regulatory authority. Okay, we will look into different regulatory authorities of each country. And one more important thing is ICH. ICH means International Conference on Harmonization. This is the group, you can say it is like UNO. There are different nations, right, where all the nations come together in United Nations. In the same way, pharma industry and or clinical research industry have a common association that is known as International Conference on Harmonization. We look deeply into it in the further slide. As of now, you remember who want to sell the medicine, who will give the approval for the medicine, and who will organize all this, who will coordinate with this. These are ICH. Okay, these are the three parties, and we will go deeply into each party. Then you will understand where you belong. First one is pharmaceutical companies. These are private pharmaceutical companies, and all these private pharmaceutical companies formed an organization. It is known as IFPMA, International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association. You can check the website. Everything will have a website. Okay, pharma company will have a website, ICH will have a website, and each regulatory authority also have a website. You can go into each website and check. One more important point I have forgot to mention here is CRO. That is very important. You need to add here. I have missed it. Clinical Research Organization. What clinical research organization is like supporting of this pharma company? I have a pharma company, right? I want to invent a new drug. I cannot have every process. I need a data management team who collects the data. I need a team who can go to each clinical site where research is happening and check whether it is happening or correctly or not. That is site monitoring. There are different clinical research organizations that has come up to support the pharma companies. Okay, so these are all include pharma companies and CROs. This is the guys who, these are the main guys who invest. These are the guys, this is the association of those guys. And CRO, clinical research organization, I have to mention here is the guys who are hired by private pharma companies to outsource their work, right? We will there are a lot of opportunities in pharma companies for homeopathy doctors. There are a lot of, more than pharma companies, homeopathy doctors are better suited for this CROs, clinical research organization. We go deeply into that in this podcast. Next one is regulatory authorities. Regulatory authorities set rules. This is important thing. Rule means you have to follow, otherwise you will not get permission. It is specific for a country. India will have a different regulatory authority, US will have a different regulatory authority. Each country will have its own regulatory authority. Of all the countries, top regulatory authority is US FDA, Food and Drug Administration. So this is considered as mother of all regulatory authorities. If a drug is approved in US FDA, it gets approved anywhere. For Europe, it is EMA, European Medicines Agency. Just you go to website, internet and search Food and Drug Administration website, EMA website. In the same way, in the Japan, this is order of importance. These US FDA is the top who have more drugs. Next Europe, next Japan. India doesn't come here. I have just added. In India, there is no single drug that is invented in India till now. Not even one. But as we are Indians, we have to know it. Next one is Japan, Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Agency. The name is. In India, it is Central Drug Standards Control Organization. In Australia, it is TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration. Now China is coming up. China is topping this market. It will surpass everyone within 5 or 10 years. China is also important now, and previously UK was more important. Now it's gone. Okay, you have, these are the different regulatory authorities. You have to conduct the clinical trial in that particular country and submit the data to this regulatory authority. Then they will decide whether to give permission or not. Clinical research industry is all about doing the experiments and getting the approval from these regulatory authorities. This is known as regulatory authority. Most important thing here, what do you notice? These are rules, right? Rules laid by regulatory authorities to be followed by the clinical research organizations or pharma companies. Next, ICH, International Conference on Harmonization. This is the association of regulatory authorities and pharma companies, or along with pharma companies, they will have CROs. They come together and form this International Conference on Harmonization. This is not a government body, this is a private body. What they do is they will give guidelines. If you follow that guidelines, it is almost following the rules, but you cannot say these are rules, these are guidelines. This is for the world, entire world. When did it start? It started in 1990. The group has started in 1990 but came into existence in 1996. Okay, Association of Pharma Companies and Regulatory Authorities, they came together. Rather than we fighting among ourselves, let's come together and develop some rules and guidelines so that everyone follows it. Not rules, these guidelines. These guidelines, where these guidelines are developed, these guidelines are again developed from these rules, right? Different rules are taken and made a guideline, but the final authority is regulatory authority, not ICH. This is how there are three parties. Where homeopathy doctors fit is here. You have more opportunities in pharma companies, and in pharma company there is one more part here, CRO, Clinical Research Organization. Homeopathy doctors fit here. We will look deep into, so how many branches are there, all those things we will look into it. So this is about the parties in clinical research.
So now we are entering into clinical research opportunities and branches. So what opportunities we have as a homeopath, or as a Ayush doctor, or as a Ayurvedic, as well as at the same time the modern medicines. Opportunities and branches sir will discuss with you.
Okay. See, everyone, when you go to PG, everyone will have their own interest. So I have seen a girl who joined in pharma PG, MD pharma, and she is not interested in it. She wants pediatrics, right? Everyone will have such type of interest. I will let you know what are all the branches. We have different branches, right? Pediatrics, psychiatry. In the same way, clinical research also have different branches. Some of the branches are suitable for us, some of the branches are not suitable for us. We will look that deeply when we are going into podcast. But here we will check what are the branches, what they are doing, so that we will have primary understanding before we go on to the deep discussion about it. Okay, I am directly going to the branches. First one is clinical data management. We generate a lot of data while doing a clinical research. How to collect the data, how to process the data, how to report the data is clinical data management. So here you need more medical knowledge as well as technical knowledge. This is clinical data management. Next one is pharmacovigilance. This is not at all suitable for homeopathic doctors, because here who enter into pharmacovigilance, they need either pharmacy background or they need MBBS background. Here homeopathy doctors are not suitable. What they do in pharmacovigilance is reporting the side effects. When a clinical research is going on, patients will experience side effects. those side effects has to be reported. That is pharmacovigilance.
But in future, this is also mandatory for homeopathy, sir. What your take on it?
Yeah, but all these are mandatory for homeopathy, but we will have very less side effects because that is nature of homeopathy. If we are doing on mother tinctures, those are crude drugs, right? If you are doing on very low potencies, they require this kind of setup, because in lower potencies the drug is still in crude form. So then we need this pharmacovigilance. As of now we don't have this branch, but in future I am sure in homeopathy also we will get pharmacovigilance as a branch under clinical research. Okay, next one is RTSM. This is my favorite, and I have been in RTSM or clinical research. I will dig deep into it. This is clinical research design or interactive response technology or randomization trial supply management or clinical interactive system. This is where we have more opportunity, not more opportunities if you want to grow big. This is the where I have worked for last 15 years. This is like a double-edged knife, right? It is very difficult to enter. If you enter into this department, your pay will be high compared to any other branches. It is very difficult branch, and homeopathy doctors who are having good knowledge in medicine, surgery are well suited for this branch. But there are very limited opportunities. If you get opportunity into this, you are lucky. You are paid more than any other branch, and you are taken wherever you want, whatever you want they will give you. Such difficult is this branch. We will look deeply into it. Basically this branch deals with the designing of the clinical trial. To design a clinical trial, you need to have anatomy, you need to have physiology, you need to have medicine, you need to have surgery, what not, everything you need. On top of it you need technical skills. Technical skills means you need to be good at uh, programming, you need to be good at testing, you need to be good at people management, you need to be good at project management, you need to be good at collecting the requirements, what exactly client wants. The most difficult branch but highly paid branch. Doctors, alternative system medicine doctors are more suitable for this. Next is site management. Site management is basic, right? For example, this is suitable for homeopathy doctors or doctors from alternative system of medicines. We will excel in this. I will tell you some points where we can excel. Why, rather than where we can excel, why we can excel is important in a particular thing. This is very good branch. This means basically clinical research is going on a particular site, and you have to ensure that clinical research is going correctly. Is the patient developing any side effects, or whether the drug is given correctly or not, patient is reporting correctly or not. So the different things that has to happen to the patient are happening is not. This is one of the basic things. I suggest every homeopathy doctor first enter into this branch, work here for 6 months, and then move on to any other branch. That we will discuss deeply in the podcast. Next is medical writing. This is also very good branch for homeopathy doctors and all the alternative system of doctors. I have seen homeopathy doctors excel in this medical writing. They are all around, placed all around the world. Medical writing is making the documents and submitting those documents to regulatory authority. So you need to have all the knowledge, medical knowledge, clinical research knowledge, in order to write those documents and get approval. This is very good branch for doctors. Regulatory affairs. Regulatory affairs, anyone can join, not only doctors, anyone can join. In any branch you take, doctors will have advantage compared to others. Okay, regulatory affairs is also a good branch for doctors can also enter. Regulatory affair means clinical research is happening there. You have to check whether it is happening as per the regulatory authorities. So if CDSCO is keeping some rules, there should be one authority sitting in the pharmaceutical company to ensure that the clinical research that is happening is on par with the rules read by either FDA, Food and Drug Administration in US, or EMEA, European Medicines Agency, as per Europe. Is it according to TGA? If the clinical trial is happening in Australia, is it following the guidelines, the rules set by TGA in Australia or CDSCO in India? They will ensure. These are like top people on which the clinical trial is going on. This needs, this will have a very good lot of importance for doctors. Doctors will excel in this, but I have seen very less doctors going into this. This is very good branch for doctors. Homeopaths can enter this. Next one is called quality assurance. Quality assurance also same like regulatory affairs, but this takes care of internal quality. It is not according to these. You can say these are close. These work closely. Okay, these two people work closely. This is mostly related to products. Any products that is homeopathy doctors will have good opportunities, quality assurance as well. But I have seen very less doctors go into this. Next is statistical programming. This is good for the people or the doctors who doesn't like homeopathy, right? So they don't want to become a doctor, or they want to become an engineer, they want to become a software engineer, but through force they have come into homeopathy. For that, statistical programming is better because it doesn't need medical knowledge. Light medical knowledge is needed, but you need to have technical skills, like you should be interested in communication, you should be interested in statistics. This department is for such people. And data analysis. Data analysis is the new branch. Doctors have more advantage and good pay in this data analysis. This is related to artificial intelligence, right? You need to learn basics of artificial intelligence. You already have medicine, surgery, whatever you want, you already have that knowledge. This is most happening branch. Is data analysis, which is a very new one. Now you are using artificial intelligence in data analysis. This is very good for doctors, or especially homeopathy doctors. Out of this, only one branch you cannot enter is pharmacovigilance. Other than pharmacovigilance, you can excel as a doctors in all these branches. Doctors has more advantage. For example, 10 people have come for interview for a particular post in medical writing or monitoring, anything. They have advantage if they take doctors. So doctors are given importance in all these branches compared to any other people. If there are 10 people in your team, you will top the among the 10 people. You will have good increments, you will have good fortune opportunities in all the branches except for pharmacovigilance.
Thank you, sir. More details will be coming in podcast, and stay tuned for this. And now we will be understanding about sir's clinical experience, sir biodata, how sir entered into this clinical research as a homeopath actually. And sir is from JSPS college, and from there sir had entered into clinical research with 15 years of experience. So what are the opportunities, how sir has entered, how we can go and learn this clinical research with sir in front of you. Sir will be sharing his clinical experience, his biodata, and where sir has studied, how this went on. Welcome you, sir, from the Homeopathic Center with collaboration with Fedcus Homeopathy.
Yeah, thank you. So coming to my qualification experience, we have only two things, right? Doctors, we are qualified, we are experienced. So let's look what my qualification is and experience. Coming to the qualification, okay. So I have completed 11th and 12th in BPC, and after that I have entered BHMS. I have did BHMS from JSPS. After BHMS, I don't want to practice homeopathy because I did not believe there is even some medicine in homeopathy. Even though I have practiced from my first year to final year, I stopped practicing after my final year. After that, I have joined MSc. I have did masters in clinical research from Sikkim Manipal University for 2 years. Based on that, I have joined clinical research organizations. I was into clinical trials for 15 years. I'm also doing MD in homeopathic pharmacy.
Sir, as you said here, post-graduation in Master of Science in Clinical Research and Regulatory Affairs from Sikkim. Is there any opportunities in Hyderabad, sir, colleges, anything you suggest for our viewers, and how they can join in which colleges, any particular idea, sir?
Yeah, I will tell you an important thing here. As on today, there is no value for any degree as on today, whether except for some degrees where if you have that degree, you are permitted to do that. For example, as per rules, you can practice homeopathy only if you are a homeopathic doctor. You can practice law if you are a lawyer. The degrees have value. This one doesn't have value as of now, but in order to get knowledge in that, you need to do that. There are a lot of training centers where these are trained. You can get training. There are masters in clinical research, but I don't suggest to go to masters as of now. If you are really interested, you want to go somewhere in this area, then only do masters. Otherwise, there are a lot of coaching centers and training centers. I will let you know in the podcast where Maybe we can give those details in
Details
the
in the link or description
below, or you can get in touch with us. And also we are planning to conduct trainings, how to enter in-depth trainings in future, uh, how to enter into each branch. We have described each branch, right? What knowledge you need, everything we are planning to provide in future also.
Thank you, sir.
This is my experience. You can see here, way back in 2007, I have started my career as a trainer in a nursing college. I was still in college. There was a nursing college nearby. I started as a trainer in that nursing college. After that, I joined as a DMO in some of the multi-specialty hospitals, where I am exposed to clinical trials. In the same hospital, I worked as a sub-investigator. After that, I moved into proper clinical research way back in 2009. I joined as a clinical research coordinator. After that, I became clinical research associate. Then in 2009, for 2 years, I said, right, every doctor should do site monitoring or site activities for 6 years and then select the branch. This I have did for 2 years. After that, I have entered into a big clinical research organization. That was in 2009. In 2010, I moved to UK. I went into clinical research, proper IRT, interactive response system, or clinical interactive system, where I have moved to UK, and I was there. From there, I have worked in different companies. Almost how many companies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I started as a small guy, and by the time I came out, I was the head of the department for clinical interactive system. We will look deep into it. And next one is, this is a summary. I started my career in clinical research as a project associate, where I was making some documents for the clinical research. By the time I came out, I was head of clinical interactive response system, where lot of programmers who are software engineers used to report into me, lot of testers used to report into me, lot of quality guys, everyone reported into me, lot of project managers reported into me. I was handling marketing department. I was head of this complete department, that clinical research, clinical interactive system. It means, what it is designing the clinical trial. I told you, right, most difficult branch of all the branches, I was heading that branch. My experience, I have done around 1500 clinical trials as of now in various stages. Even I have worked on COVID trials as well. I have worked closely with 250 pharma companies around the world and around 100 clinical research organizations. I have worked closely with them, and I was part, mostly my career is also, I was an employee under this many clinical research organization. I traveled around the world and met different people around the world. This is my short summary what I have done in my clinical research tenure.
So thank you, sir. More details will be in our podcast. Stay tuned. Sir, we'll start with career overview and relevance questions, sir. As
Okay.
already we have done clinical research introduction parts that will be posted along with this as well. So, sir, so my first question is, how valuable is clinical research as a long-term career option after BHMS or MD?
Yeah. See, I don't say that it is valuable option after MD, because if you do MD, your aim is to settle in homeopathy. But and also when you do MD, there are a lot of disadvantages to enter into clinical trials.
Yes.
So I don't suggest, and it is not good idea after MD, but definitely after BHMS, it's a very good path to select. See, every human being wants to have different, or will have different strategy for his career, right?
Yes.
Some people want to come to office at 9 o'clock in the morning and leave at 5 o'clock. Some people want to excel in their career. They want to spend whole day. They want to reach some heights. Some people want to move to different places. Today in US, to tomorrow in UK, after some time in India. They want to roam around all the countries. Yeah, some people wants to excel. Some people wants to become entrepreneurs once they get proper knowledge, experience, qualification, and everything in a clinical trial. They want to start their own company. They want to become entrepreneurs. Clinical research industry is for everyone. 5 to 9 job, you want to climb the corporate ladder, where you want to become director, VP, CEO, where you want to start your own company. So it is for everyone. So and also it is very good opportunity for BHMS students. The important opportunity here we have is not our designation, nothing to do with BHMS.
Okay, sir.
So BHMS, because you are BHMS, you are not going to enter into clinical trial, or you will not be given red carpet into clinical trial. But when you do BHMS, the knowledge you get from anatomy, physiology, medicine, surgery, uh, gynec, ops, whatever you have, pharmacy, where pharmacy is very important. The knowledge you get here will put you ahead in the competition. Say for same in a same department, there are 10 people, 9 people are from non-medical background, and one person you are from medical background, whether BHMS, Unani, Siddha, Naturopathy, Ayurveda, anything. You will have much advantage from knowledge perspective compared to others. As of now, for many positions in the corporate world, nothing to do with the qualification. So you not need not be a software engineer, you need not be a BTech engineer to know software, or in the same way you not need not be a doctor, but having that knowledge is definitely advantage to alternative system of medicines, guys.
Yes, sir. Second question, like what unique strengths do BHMS or MD graduates bring into the field of clinical research, sir, compared to other medical backgrounds?
Yeah, so definitely there are two things in clinical research. You should be good at two things. One is
Yes.
core medical knowledge. Other people will not have medical knowledge, right? They don't know anatomy, they don't know physiology, histology, chemistry, biochemistry, biophysics, or medicine, surgery. They don't have any idea about that. They purely depend on technical skills. But apart from technical skills, we are already studied all those things. Thus that will be our core advantage. On that, what do you develop is what the trajectory that is going to project you is what you develop. For example, there are some people who are good, want to learn technology, right?
Yes.
They maybe they no need to learn everything. For example, there is no need to learn coding, no need to learn testing, or no need to learn management systems. But definitely they should know what is coding, what is testing, and all those things. If they are good at technology, they can have different branches within the clinical research. And also, if they don't want to do that, if they are good at speaking with the people, they can be good managers. Management skills, where they can handle people, they are good at speaking with people and managing people. They have different path. So everyone will have different path in clinical research, but our core strength is we can understand clinical trial better and explain, or we can deal with the sponsor or the customer better compared to other system of people who are not medically qualified.
So anyhow, the upper hand is at the medical side as well.
Yeah.
So other important question, sir. As from BHMS, we enter into MD.
Right.
So in MD, there are many subjects only related to homeopathy,
Right.
Medramedica, repertory, and
Mm.
pharmacy. So among these three, who will be having upper hand and why? And what could be the advantages and disadvantages in relation with clinical research, sir?
Yeah. So I will say MD is a disadvantage, right? In clinical trials, the thing is, as early as you enter into clinical trials, your experience will increase. You are doing BHMS for 6 years, again MD for 3 years or 10 years. 10 years of your active life is gone there. Then you want to start as fresher. For example, one guy who has completed BHMS and one guy who has completed MD will have same opportunities. They have to start at same place. Example, in 2010, one guy has entered into BHMS, he has completed in 2016. In 2016, he has entered into clinical trials. One more guy who has done the PG for 3 years is entering into that after 5 years. This BHMS guy will be 5 years ahead of him.
Yes.
He has to start fresh
Again.
in everything. In this way, and also as a senior guy, you will not be interested, or you will not be comfortable to start as junior. Once you have completed your MD and you start as fresher, your managers and your leads will be much less qualified than them. In that particular instance also, pharma companies or CROs will not prefer overqualified guys. If you are overqualified, you don't have experience, you are starting as a fresher, most of the time it is a burden or it is a hurdle. By the time you have completed PG, you are also married, you need to take care of your children, you need to take care of your family, and you cannot experiment at that point in time. But if you are really interested, you can get into a clinical trials at any point in time. But my suggestion is, if you don't want to do MD and you want to have 9 to 5 job, or you want to excel in a corporate ladder, you want to climb the corporate ladder, or you want to establish your own clinical research organization, then start as early as possible. Don't wait for MD.
Okay. If they choose for MD, which better subjects compared to pharmacy, medical repertory, what could be giving a better option in clinical research as per your view?
Yeah, I don't think any specialty is needed.
Okay.
If it is repertory or materia medica or even pharmacy, it doesn't matter, because definitely if you are pharmacy, it may have slight advantage, but definitely nothing to do with the pharmacy. What you need here is basic understanding. What is a disease, how many types of diseases are there, if someone gives a protocol, if the drug that is going to be tested on diabetes, so you need to know what is diabetes, what are the inclusion criteria. If this criteria you are eligible for the study. If you have this criteria, you are not eligible. So if there is any adverse effect, how to handle it. So basic BHMS knowledge or basic undergraduation knowledge is enough for that. I don't think any specific MD will have advantage over each other. I don't think so.
Okay. So coming to next question, at what stage should a homeopathic student start preparing for a career in clinical research? At the UG or internship or postgraduate?
If you are aiming for uh, your career to be entered into clinical research, start from the day one. From first year itself, you have to start. You have to acquire the skills like data. You have to be good at technology, right? You learn technology. You learn what is database management courses are available. If you are interested in coding, don't go deep into it. Learn light amount of coding. You have to know what is coding, you have to know what is testing, how products or how software is developed. Currently in this age, not only homeopathy doctors, even a sweeper who is sweeping at home has to know about AI. You go deep into AI. You understand various branches of homeopathy, attend different seminars. Lot of small 6 months courses, 3 months courses available on clinical research. When you are free, there are a lot of I said, right, there is one designation known as clinical research coordinator. This clinical research coordinator job is available in any big hospital. So you go and find a doctor who is doing the clinical research there, and associate with him when you are in holidays, or when you get 1 week of holidays, 1 month of holidays, when you are moving from first year to second year, go as a apprentice there and learn from them. The lot of things you can do. Or else there are a lot of small coaching centers available for clinical research. Maybe you can enter into the clinical research course, maybe as a guider or tutor also. You can learn from them. Lot of things you can do from the beginning, if from first year itself. uh, More concentrate on technology, more concentrate on artificial intelligence, more concentrate on how products are developed, how software is developed, and you can start from first year itself.
So basically, sir, this technology, data collection, understanding of coding, decoding, along with the some medical knowledge is important for clinical research with lot of passion and hard work. That was the gist you want to tell about it.
Yeah.
Nice, sir. So next question, entering pathways after BHMS or after MD, what are the common entry level roles in clinical research for a BHMS graduate?
First role I suggest to any BHMS graduate is go to a hospital, maybe Apollo Hospital or any multi-specialty hospital. The clinical trials are going on there. Just go to the hospital and check who is conducting the clinical trial. Go to that particular doctor and say him as, I want to join your clinical trial as clinical research coordinator, CRC. Even I have started my career as CRC, clinical research coordinator. What is clinical research coordinator is basic, right? If you want to understand about medicine, if you want to understand about surgery, anything, what you need to know, you need to know basic biology, right? What is plant, what is animal kingdom, basics. This will give you basics of clinical trials. Means what I said, what is protocol, what is inclusion criteria, what is exclusion criteria, how the patients enter into clinical trial, what are all the procedures done, what should be done when there is a side effect to the patient, how the clinical trial is started. Starting the clinical trial is very important thing. And what is ethics committee? There are different people sit together and give monitoring the clinical trial, how ethics committee works, and how a clinical trial is closed, how different people monitoring the clinical trial, how data is entered, how data is collected, how reports are done. What happens, you will have investigator meetings throughout the world, they happen. If your investigator is good, he will make you travel to other countries as well. I have traveled to many other countries when I was in the starting job. So there will be some initiation meetings, trial initiation meetings. It happens in different countries. You can go there, you can expose to different branches, and there will be different inspections, right? FDA can Food and Drug Administration can suddenly come for an investigation, or Indian authorities can come for investigation. How to handle those? What are the different branches in it? How each branch is related? Different trial need different branches. Some clinical trials need wearable bands. You have to coordinate with that wearable band company and give what you exactly need. Some people need some different technology. Radiology, the trial is happening on cancer, you need to speak with radiology teams. So lot of coordination you will understand. Basic one is, whenever you find time, maybe 1 month or 2 months when you are free, or else you don't have exams, right? From morning to evening you will be in college, go and sit in the clinical trials, help the investigator as coordinator for maybe 2 to 3 hours every day. These types of jobs are available for apprenticeship. Some people will give you salary as well when you join as clinical research coordinator. Clinical research coordinator is the basic thing. You have to do at least six months. I suggest them to do it 6 months. Then there is no need for you, for me to tell you anything. You will understand everything. 6 months of your life you have to work as clinical research coordinator. Then you will understand A to Z about clinical trials, and then you can decide which path you want to take. You want to go into technology part, you want to go into people management part, you want to go into site management where exactly clinical trial is happening, do you want to go to pharmacovigilance, where pharmacovigilance we don't have much in that, and regulatory path or medical writing. These are the different branches. You will be exposed to all the branches which we have discussed in
Yes.
the PowerPoint presentation. You are exposed to all those branches, from there you can pick which one you are interested. And you will also come to know there are different roles. Some roles you need to travel 24 hours. Today you have to travel, within 1 week you have to travel. Today you have to travel to US, tomorrow to UK. These type of jobs are available. Some jobs are there. You have to come in the morning 9 o'clock, go by evening 5 o'clock. Some you will also know politics, right? In corporate world,
Yes,
you
sir.
have to know politics to climb the corporate ladder. So you want to grow in your corporate ladder. Now you are a project associate, project manager, lead, VP, vice president, president, and you want to become a CEO. That path is different. You will understand what politics are done, how people are managing, how, see here, how you expose yourself to that, everything comes to you. So there are a lot of things you learn as clinical research coordinator. I suggest every BHMS doctor or any other doctor, whether you want to enter clinical trials or don't want to enter clinical trials, work as clinical research coordinator for 6 months.
So can you explain like what hardships you faced under this clinical research coordinator when you went to UK, US for this 15 years?
Yeah.
How hardships was there and how to overcome this, sir?
Right. So especially from my background, since beginning I was good at technology, I was good at communication, everything was there. The hardship I faced was the culture is different, right? BHMS means it is purely tradition. We are not exposed to corporate culture. We are not mostly extroverts. Maybe Gen Z has changed. When I was there, we are mostly, all the doctors are introverts. There is no extrovert doctor. That has become the problem. You do your work, but you don't know, you cannot project yourself that you are doing it. That has become the problem, and that can be both advantage and disadvantage. In my clinical research career, when I entered into clinical research design, what I said, IRT,
Yes,
or
yes.
the most difficult branch in the clinical trials, when I entered, I used to go to office at 9 o'clock in the morning and come to home at 5 o'clock in the morning. From 5 to 6, 7, sleep. Again from 9 o'clock, go to office. This hard work I have done for 1.5 years, 3 years. Then I became excel in that. After 3 years, I got very good opportunities. My salary doubled, tripled. My position got 3 to 4. Normally, ladder will be first step, second step, third step. After this, I went to fourth step, fifth step, 10th step. I went. So every personality has some advantages and disadvantages. If you are introvert, you will have certain type of problems, certain type of advantages. If you are extrovert, you concentrate less on work, you concentrate more on projecting yourself. They will have different types of opportunities like people management. Depending on the personality, you will have different problems. For my personality, I am purely introvert. I cannot express. If someone gives me a topic and ask me to speak, I can speak. That is not a problem. But how to be close with manager, how to handle teams, I have learned that very hard way. Maybe after 5 to 6 years or 10 years of being in that field, I have learned these techniques. For some people this comes naturally, for some people this comes naturally, but knowledge, upgrading the knowledge, that is not possible for them. Based on their personalities, each people will have their different challenges.
So we have discussed about branches, sir. So every branch has this type of introvert, extrovert for their advantage and disadvantage, right?
Yeah, every branch, there is no exception. I don't think any branch needs purely introvert, extrovert, but there is only one branch, that is business development, where you have to speak with the client, where you are as a business developer, you have to speak with the client and get the client. For that, you should be highly extrovert. You have to have knowledge, but along with the knowledge, being an extrovert is mandatory there. Except for that branch, I don't think any other branch requires this type of skill set. But if you want to, but these are the guys who are highly paid in a corporate world. For example, a CRO hired you, clinical research organization hired you. You are getting business. You are paid very high amount, right? Of all the clinical trials, if you get business to them, you are paid high. The business development job is very highly paid job in clinical trials.
Sir, as you said, MD degree is not that significantly, but a small question which I got DM from our post. Does MD degree significantly influence the growth, designation, or leadership roles in clinical research, sir?
No, definitely not. Your MD is nothing to do with your either designation or growth, or maybe when you become a CEO or when you become a vice president, if you are considered yourself as a doctor or you are MD, then you will be slightly better respected. But definitely the advantage here is who enters early. If you are wasting 3 years as an MD and same your classmate has joined 3 years prior, this your classmate who has joined 3 years prior will have more advantage than compared to you.
So it's more of experience matter, right?
Experience, yeah.
So another minute question: how important are certificates like ICH, GCP, and CRA training or PG diplomas in clinical research, sir?
See, all these trainings, ICH, GCP, PG diploma, these are basically to enhance your knowledge. Certificates doesn't have any value in clinical trials or any corporate world. If you are a guy who has passed out from IIM or IIT and you have less knowledge, it doesn't matter for them. In clinical trials or any corporate job, your skill sets, your knowledge, your experience, how you deal with the people, whether you are useful to the organization or not. Degrees doesn't have, or papers doesn't have any value, but you have completed ICH training, you have certificate, it doesn't value, but you have ICH knowledge, that values more than having the, no one will ask you to show me your certificate,
right?
whatever certificate you have, no one will ask you. When the situation arises, do you have the knowledge, do you have the experience, do you have the competency, do you have the knack of coming out of the situation, making the situation better, and are you an advantage with that knowledge to your company? Is your company revenue is increased, or you are adding value to the company, is more important than certificates. Two guys, one guy have certificate, one about ICH, one guy have knowledge about ICH. Cer- the guy who has only certificate is not going to work, it is zero. This is 100. Who has knowledge is 100, knowledge without certificate is zero, not even one.
So it's more of practical kind of things or clinical research, or it's theory related, according to you?
Both, see, theory related are there, practical related are there, but here is how useful you are to the company. It is not like some government job where whether you do the work or you don't do the work, you are paid. No. If you want to grow, you have to perform, you have to put your hard work, you put your smart work, you have to always update, you have to venture into new, anything new comes, you should be like water, you have to go whatever is available. You cannot say I'm rigid, I will not move, I will sit here only, I will do the same things. Every year technology changes, every year priorities changes, everything is going to change. You should be so fluid, so adaptive, so that you can go into any corner, nook and corner of clinical trial. It is more your usefulness to the organization rather than your degrees.
Can you explain the real day-to-day work of a clinical research professional for medical graduates?
Yeah.
How it is?
Yeah, whether it is a medical graduate or non-medical graduate, it depends on the branch, what branch you are interested in. Basically, some common things what you do is you should be good at communication. Communication means if you are able to speak good English, that is very advantageous. You can speak, if you can understand the accent of different countries. For example, I can, previously I was not used to understand US accent or British accent. British accent is completely different from US accent. I was well versed with this, but when I tried to do some clinical trials from other Eastern countries like Germany, Poland, uh, even China, you cannot understand their English. Their English is completely different. So definitely, linguistic problems or linguistic intelligence is very much appreciated. And the thing what are going to do is you should be communicating everything. It is more communication. Are you receiving the mails, are you checking the mails, are you replying the mails based on the priority? There will be 100 mails in your inbox, right? What is to be given importance, what is to be done next? uh, if you are getting 10 mails from the client, which among that mail is important, how do you communicate? It is more communication, doing the things on right time, giving it both quality and quantity is important. But day to day job is mostly attending meetings, communicating in the meetings, updating about what is done, what is not done, what is the risk. If there is any risk, you have to tell them in advance. A lot of corporate knowledge and corporate things you will learn once you enter the job. Here, you should be a smart worker rather than a hard worker.
Yes, sir. Sir, how much of the work is patient related versus documentation, data management, and regulatory coordination, sir?
Yeah, definitely. It again depends on the branch. If you are talking about regulatory affairs or quality, it's 99.99% documentation, studying about various regulations and everything. If it is clinical research site management, maybe clinical research coordinator, clinical research associate, site manager. These are some roles where you will be involved mostly with the patients, right? There are different, but it depends on the branch again. From maybe 99% only documentation and regulatory submissions, from to 90 around, I cannot say there is no 100% patient management.
Yes.
Maybe 70% management. Even these guys has to spend at least 30% of their time in documentation, in entering the data, in reviewing the data. Maximum patient will be 70 to 30, 70% in site management department. 70% is patient, 30% is your technology, your documentation. In some things like clinical data management, you will have patient data, but you don't directly coordinate with patients. It depends on the branch again.
Sir, what are common misconceptions of students having about this clinical research as a career, sir?
The common misconception I hear is your qualification matters, right? Whether it is BHMS or MD. I have seen a lot of my seniors who has completed MD and came to me and asking that I am an MD. So what advantages I have, or how do I enter clinical trials? Even some people say that I have completed BHMS or MD 10 years ago. I have 10 years of experience. So how much salary I get in a clinical trial? Whether you have completed MD or you have experience in practice for 10 years or 20 years, you are still a fresher in clinical research. You have to start from zero, right? Your qualification doesn't matter, and also your experience other than clinical research doesn't matter. If you have experience in clinical research, it matters. Even within the branch, for example, you are into pharmacovigilance now, you want to change the branch to clinical data management. There you are a fresher again. You have experience in pharmacovigilance, but you don't have experience in clinical data management. You are a fresher there. Even within different branches of clinical trials, if you change, you are a fresher. Whether you are an MD or BHMS, or you have been practice at your home or any corporate hospital for 10 years, you are still a fresher. That's the reason I always say enter into clinical research as early as possible. You start your clinical research career when you are first year. You can go and join as a clinical research coordinator anywhere. That should be the strategy.
So coming to some ethics, regulations, and evidence-based practices, I got one DM that how important is ethical understanding and regulatory compliance in clinical research roles?
Right. Clinical research, let it be in any branch, pharmacovigilance, clinical data management, IRT, whatever the branches we have discussed. The most frequent term you are going to hear in a day-to-day life is quality. Quality is utmost important. Quality is the king of clinical trials. If you do anything, if you are not doing it with quality, no one will accept it. Quality is so important in regulatory because this is dealing with human lives, right?
Yes.
Homeopathic medicines will not have side effects. For us, quality doesn't matter. If the medicine is not working, it will not work. It will not cause harm to the patient. But in clinical trials, if you do a single mistake, if you give a wrong dose to the patient, it is going to hamper his life. Not only that, clinical research rules and regulations are so strict. If you break some rules, you directly go and end in the court. So such is the strict punishment or strict quality. And someone is talking about ethics.
Yes.
Ethics is also very strictly regulated. Previously there was some human experiments done by Nazis, right, on prisoners, and Tuskegee syphilis experiment. There are a lot of human ethics and rights violation in the past, but it is not what is shown in the movies, right? Now in the movies, everything will show patient doctor is giving illegal drug to the patient. It will not happen in clinical trial. The rules and regulations are so strict that you cannot do that. To maintain that, all the regulations, all the ethical guidelines, whatever is there, you have to strictly follow. The most frequent term in your life becomes quality. Everything should be of highest quality in clinical trials. Maybe you will hear this word 100 times a day when you enter into clinical trials job
Yes.
in any branch.
And how does this clinical research help in developing an evidence-based mindset among homeopath graduates, sir?
Right, I will tell you a small story. I have joined BHMS in 2002. After 2002, I have completed my BHMS in 2008. In 2007, what happened is there was my senior. His name is Srikanth. Srikanth Madunagla. He has completed MD. He gave me a book. Normal, he practices allopathy. At that time, he was practicing allopathy. He gave me a book. I know you are scientifically oriented. Read this book. That book is Allopathic Pharmacology. Basically, it contains what is pharmacology. Pharmacology means pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. It is a scientific way of describing a drug. After reading that book, what I thought is homeopathy is not a medicine. There is no medicine. It is all dummy. It is all placebo. And 2008, I left homeopathy. From 2002, when I was a first year student, to 2008, final year student and internship, I practiced homeopathy very sincerely. I've seen a lot of results, some hundreds of cases and thousands of cases I have treated within this 6 years. After 2008, I have left homeopathy after reading this book. This gave me scientific approach. I want to pursue homeopathy in a scientific way. That's the reason I have ventured into clinical trials, and I have did my masters in clinical trials from Sikkim Manipal University. Once you develop that, you will apply the same thing in homeopathy as well.
Yes.
Most of our seniors I have seen saying that this is not our science, that is our science. Why do we think about other science? There is no different two types of sciences.
Yes.
Right? Anything that goes into the body, it has to absorb somewhere, it has to be distributed in the body, it has to be metabolized, it has to be eliminated. Whether it is homeopathic medicine, allopathic medicine, ayurvedic medicine, siddha medicine, even water you drink has to absorb, has to be distributed, has to be metabolized, has to be eliminated. Even air you breathe has to be absorbed somewhere, has to be distributed, has to be metabolized, has to be eliminated. That is pharmacodynamic kinetics. Any drug you take will have an pharmacological action. For example, you take antacid. Antacid is a base. The stomach contains acid. There will be acid base reaction. It is neutralized. In the same way, every homeopathic drug will also have its action. That has to be described, that has to be studied, that has to be scientifically published. That we have to do, rather than saying this is not our science, we have vital force, I will hit you, you will have pain, can you show me the pain? These type of things are nonsense. This should not be done. If you speak this kind of language, no one is going to respect you. They think that homeopathy is useless. This is not the language you should be speaking. You should be speaking in terms of pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics. That is the scientific way of approaching a homeopathic medicine. You will develop these knowledge, these skills, this experience once you know what is happening in clinical trials. When you go into clinical trials, every clinical trial you see from the perspective of homeopathy, and then you will understand homeopathy is highly scientific than compared to any other system of medicine. What these people are doing now, developing nanoparticles, this homeopathy has done 2500 years ago. Right? What medicine dilutions we are using, they are all nanoparticles. The nanoparticles are synthesized in two way, right? Either top down approach, bottom up approach. Top down approach is our trituration, bottom up approach is our succussion. Where nanoparticles are physically developed, there are different ways of developing nanoparticles. There are three ways: physically developing, chemically developing, biologically developing. In physical development of nanoparticles, this is top down approach and bottom up approach. This top down approach, bottom up approach, where the nano scientists are doing now, homeopathy has done 250 years ago. That advanced is our homeopathic medicines. How will you understand this? You have to know the modern. This is not modern science. Science is science. Science is same for homeopathy and allopathy. You cannot say this is their science, this is my science. Science is same. You don't know about that science because in undergraduation you are not taught about it. That's the reason you are behaving like a illiterate person. There is no still thinking about vital force. So these are all outdated concepts. These concepts are developed 250 years ago, where there is no stethoscope, there is no germ theory at that time. They have done, they try to explain it. Even I have seen homeopathy was invented in 1796, right? First, it was published. Similia principle was published in 1796. From 1796 to somewhere around 2 to 3 years, Hahnemann used only crude medicines, diluted medicines. He diluted, but he did not convert them into nanoparticles. He started converting into nanoparticles after 3 to 4 years of practice. But he proposed dynamization theory after 30 years, 29 years he proposed. This 29 years he was experimenting with nanoparticles. He doesn't know that is nanoparticle. What he says is the effect of crude drug is different from the effect of dynamized drug.
medicines. Yeah.
What exactly he mean by dynamized drug? He especially mentioned in some of his writings unknown powers. What that unknown power is?
This
Conversion of nanoparticles.
Yes.
At that time we did not have this electron microscope, TEM, SCM electron microscope. We are not able to see those nanoparticles at that point in time. But he is able to identify the medicine which is in crude form works differently when the medicine is converted into nanoparticles. Converting into nanoparticles he doesn't know, but something is happening with trituration and succussion. The crude medicine is behaving differently. That he called dynamization. But he at that time he don't know it is due to nanoparticles. To explain this different effect, he has named it as dynamization, but he clearly mentioned unknown. He used the word, I don't know what is happening, but when you dynamize it, dynamize means converting into nanoparticles, the effect is different. Now it is our duty to know pharmacokinetics and pharmacokinetic dynamics of the nanoparticles. You should not say that Hahnemann told that it is important to treat the patient, not important to know how the medicine works. It is not our system of medicine. This is all garbage. This is all wrong. This should not be done. We have science is same for everyone. Medicine is observed, distributed, metabolized, eliminated. It will have both pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic effects which we have to elicit now.
Like, what challenges do homeopathic professions face while working in mainstream clinical research, sir?
See, basically we are all introverts, right? They may be, I have seen, I don't know about Gen Z, but definitely when we were students, most of them were introverts. They came from, they don't know, they know only about education. Other than that, they don't know anything. They don't know computers. But I think Gen Z is good at communication. But what I have seen is even they don't know anything about technology. Not learning about technology, not learning about AI, not learning about social media and entering into clinical trials is a very bad option. You have to be good in English, you have to be good in communication, you have to be good in technology, especially AI. You have to understand, you have to use AI everywhere. So that's how you make yourself ready for clinical research jobs. If you want to enter into clinical research jobs, learn good English, not minimum English. Spend enormous amount of time on English, technology. Learn basics. What is programming? Go and learn some Python course. There are a lot of Python courses available. Learn about testing, learn about database. Just spend 2 to 3 months on each topic. Join good AI course. Lot of online courses are available for AI. Spend time on this. Anyhow you are good at anatomy, physiology, this you learn. But these you have to concentrate and get some experience. Join as a clinical research coordinator. Otherwise you will not excel in your clinical research job.
Are there international opportunities for homeopathic graduates in clinical research?
Yeah, definitely. All the clinical trials are global now. I have seen many of my friends who are in various places. I traveled many countries. I was there in many countries. I started my career as a document maker for that clinical interactive response system. My first job is project associate. Basic job is when the trial is going on, they need some documents. I used to make some documents. To make some documents, to get trained on how to make some documents, I traveled to UK. I was there initially for 6 months in Nottingham. I was trained how to make the documents. While you are growing, you will definitely have opportunities in lot of places. You can settle abroad, you can settle in the choice of your country. Okay, there are a lot of opportunities when you excel in what you are doing.
Yes. And how does clinical research compare with clinical practice in terms of financial stability and work-life balance?
See, I don't believe in work life balance. Your life is your work and your work is your life. There is no difference. I don't differentiate both of them. It entirely depends on your interest. Are you Do you want to meet people? Do you want to uh, cure people? Do you want to interact with patients? It is purely interest. If you are not interested in doing that, see, entering into clinical trials, each person will have his own things. So some people I want to start my job in the 9 in the morning, I want to end in the evening. They are welcome in clinical trials and also in clinical practice. They want to spend 24 hours with patients. It is possible in clinical trials, it is possible in general practice. You want to go to the country of your choice. It is not possible in homeopathy practice, but in clinical trials it is possible. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, you want to become your project associate, project manager, lead manager, vice president, president, CEO. That is also possible in clinical trials. That is not possible here. Whatever you want to do, or it depends on what you want to do. You want to settle abroad, you have opportunities, you want to climb the corporate ladder, or else you want to work in clinical research organization for some time, and you want to start your own clinical research organization. There are a lot of people who can fund. You can do that as well. So it exactly depends on your core skill sets and what you want to do, how risk taking you are. There are a lot of parameters. You can do anything. Everyone will have a space. Even introverts have a space in clinical trials. Extroverts have a place. Okay, feminist. So whatever you are, you will have a place in clinical trials.
Yeah. Sir, is Master of Public Health anywhere useful in clinical research, sir?
So Master of Public Health, I don't think it is useful. For that matter, no degree is useful in clinical trials, right? MD, BHMS, Unani. So if you are a lab technician, it doesn't matter. What skill sets you have related to your particular branch and how well you are able to show that and how useful to the organization you are determines your growth in clinical research. But definitely no document or no certificate is useful.
Yeah, sir. One last question, sir. Like, if a student wants to start today, what 3 concentrated steps should they take in next 6 months?
First, learn English. You should be very good at English. Learn technology. Start as early as possible, right? Learning English is very advantageous in clinical research industry. You will be speaking with US, you will be speaking with UK, Germany, all the countries. You have to be good at English. Next, if you are not knowing about technology, you are zero again. You have to know what you no need to have deep coding. Learn some Python, right? Learn some testing skills. Learn some AI tools, AI database. What you have to understand, what is database. At least look into database, how the data is organized. This database, maybe simple languages like C, very easy to learn. Technology is very important. Third one to enter in clinical trials is you enter into clinical trials as early as possible. The advantage BHMS students and Unani students have in entering into clinical trials, the basic job is clinical research coordinator. This you can do part time. This you can do when you have 1 week time. This you can do in summer holidays, or else every day evening you go and spend as a clinical research coordinator in some hospital at least 6 months. If you do these 3 things, I am sure that you will enter and flourish in clinical trials.
Yes. Thank you, sir, and thanks for sharing this knowledge, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you.
much.